a conversation with Dr. King. Let's get it. I, in that dream, I was afforded a rare opportunity to do what could only be done in a dream. I dreamt that I conducted a personal interview with the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I questioned Dr. King about the state of the nation, the progress that had been made since his untimely death, and what he saw in our immediate future. I would like to share with you some excerpts from my dream. Hey, this sounds like the episode of the Boondocks. You know what I'm saying? MLK. Okay, now AB. It's Anthony Browder. He says he asks Dr. King. Almost 20 years have passed since you left us. How would you describe the changes that have taken place in the struggle for civil rights? MLK. I feel that the tactics we used in the 60s would not work very well in today's society. You see, racism is a systematic way of life, and all systems adapt to change. Our protests forced the government to acknowledge our rights as citizens. Then the system changed. Now our people struggling to hold on to the changes that so many of us have fought and died for. Okay, he's saying that he couldn't do it the same in the 90s, the 80s, the 90s because things changed. In 1986, the president signed the law. This AB, the president signed the law into bill signed into law a bill declaring your birthday a national holiday in '86. Has that pleased you? MLK says the idea of a holiday is gratifying, very gratifying indeed, but I truly hope that people remember the things I tried to do for humanity. I believe that equality for all people must be realized if we are ever to have justice and freedom in this country. I do have one nagging concern, and that is the constant perception of me as a quote unquote dreamer. My life was devoted to change and action in a conscious state. Dreams, on the other hand, take place when one is unconscious. People need to stop dreaming and start focusing their attention on what is happening around them. It's time to wake up. I made my I Have a Dream speech 25 years ago. I've had numerous dreams since then, and yes, some were idealistic, but others were dreams of a profound change in tactics. Okay, so he's saying in that one, he's saying through MLK to move on from the dreamer thing. The holiday is cool, but don't get stuck on that. Okay, AB says, what tactics would work best in today's struggle for human rights? MLK, he says, I had a conversation with Frederick Douglass. He funny. I had a conversation with Frederick Douglass the other day on that very subject. We both agreed that power concedes nothing without a struggle. Sometimes the struggle may begin non-violently and then turn violent because of the opposition against it. Okay, you got to protect yourself. Today, the U.S. government is supporting armed liberation struggles all over the globe, and to them it is justified. Meanwhile, our brothers and sisters in South Africa are told to wait for their freedom just as we were told to wait for ours. The time for waiting is long gone. I concur completely with my dear brother Malcolm and his feelings that we must achieve freedom by any means necessary. You can quote me on that. All right, yeah, he's saying basically fight for it. AB asked him, so since the latter part of the 80s, we have seen a dramatic increase in racial incidents. Do you think racism is staging a comeback? As MLK, he says, racism has always been present. It does not go away like a chameleon. Racism changes its appearance to adapt to changing environment. I dare say that racism is as prevalent today as it was 30 years ago, and in some ways, it's even worse. In my day, we knew that society saw us as second class citizens. We formed our own societies within our own communities and we respected each other as first class citizens. Now, most Negro communities are riddled with crime, poverty, drugs, and unemployment. There's little self respect, and we are still regarded as second class citizens of third world people. So it's funny he wrote this in the 80s, but they're still hitting on the same stuff right here in 2024. Uh, you said yeah, racism could be it's always been present. It didn't go away, and it just changed and boom, growing. Back in the day, we knew that they was on that racism stuff, so we got our own. We did our own for us, by us, boom, and we respected each other. We weren't worried about their respect on us. We had our own respect. So now most of this is like gone. You feel me? Ain't nothing to respect. We don't respect ourselves, so of course we ain't worried about them respecting us. He really saying that that's the respect, self respect is out the window. So second class and third world people, it's like they doing that. That racism is hitting on something because we ain't even proving them wrong. You know what I'm saying? Boom. That's what he's saying. Really. All right. So Browder goes on to say. He asked him, Dr. King, are you saying that the civil rights movement was a failure? King, he responds, no, not at all. The civil rights movement was a means to an end. The movement focused world attention on the treatment of the Negro in America, and we forced the government to loosen its death grip on us. Uh, we gained some breathing room, and we were in the process of shifting our attention towards worldwide human rights when I was assassinated. So he pretty much saying, nah, it wasn't a failure. You know, we was moving, we pushed. You feel me? Like, we still got more to go, and it still wasn't a failure. It did a whole lot of work and got us where we at now. We can keep going towards human rights on a global scale. And so, brother goes on to ask him, he says, Dr. King, if you were to give a message to those of us who were inspired by your work, what would that message be? And as King he says, I would say this. In the 50s, we sat in at lunch counters, we boycotted businesses, and we demanded the right to vote. Today, you own many restaurants, you operate multi-million-dollar businesses, you elect your own public officials, but you are not free. Freedom comes only when people are truly dedicated to liberty. We cannot take one step forward and two steps back and call that progress. Many of our youth today know little or nothing about our history, let alone the struggles of those who lived the generation before us. We've taken two gigantic steps backwards, and it deeply concerns me. People can no longer afford to waste time. They must wake up, wipe the sleep from their eyes, and continue to struggle. I would hate to think that I gave my life in vain. From where I now stand, I know we will reach the promised land, but when is the abiding question? All right, this really reminded me of the Boondocks episode. You know, Dr. King coming back. In his commentary, he goes on to say, "My commentary is one that's interesting." So page 33, and today I drove past MLK, got the photo, and boom, you know, I think it's righteous to see the ancestor represented in this way. It's a great platform to communicate one of his long lasting messages, which is consciousness beyond dreams, bringing dreams to reality through action, dedication. As we are here now. And that's why I think it's so important today to see truth coming to light. You know what I'm saying? To see the word shining. I think it's very important that we make it plain, like Elder Malik El Shabazz said. You know what I'm saying? Like Elder Mikael tell us. You know what I'm saying? Ancestry. They letting us know. You know, it's important that we be on all that we supposed to be on every time. When we see it, crush it, because that's what it's about. You feel me? Get that up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And right here, he go into his commentary to say that Dr. King's last words echoed in his mind when his sleep was broken by the sound of his radio alarm clock. He was awakened to the tune of Harold Melvin and the Blue Note singing, "Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed." Yeah, yeah, how appropriate. That's the end of that. Great one. References and suggested readings. George Brightman, Malcolm X by Any Means Necessary. That's in New York, 1987. Frederick Douglass, Life and Time of Frederick Douglass in New Jersey, 1983. Michael Eric Dyson, I May Not Get There With You, The True Martin Luther King Jr., New York, 2000. Alex Haley, Autobiography of Malcolm X. New York, 1964. Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther King Jr., Why We Can't Wait. New York, 1964. Martin Luther King Jr. The Words of Martin Luther King Jr., selected by Coretta Scott King. New York, 1987. Malcolm X, February 1965. The Final Speeches. Pathfinder, 1992. Again, that's Elder Malika Shabazz, and formerly known as Mikael King Jr. Boom. So then that we're gonna go on and jump on. I think that's an awesome one, Elder. Really, really succinct, potent speech. Wake up, be conscious, be intentional with everything. Give thanks. It took